That was not what I was expecting. And I have to say, this is a movie that had a lot of hype going in. So let's answer the question, is Marty Supreme worth the hype? Welcome back, everyone. We're here to talk about Marty Supreme, which was a roller coaster of a ride in the theaters. I went into this movie thinking that I knew what this movie was going to be. I heard it was a very good film, and I had heard that it was a sports drama about a ping pong champion. For a sports drama, I have to say, there wasn't too much sports in this, and I think that's part of the reason why I really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. Before I get into this, I want to know, how do you feel about sports dramas, and what do you think when you think of them? Because I bet this movie ain't that. I also just want to say that in this review, I'm going to go back and forth between saying ping pong and table tennis. So just if I do that, sorry, when I think of it, I think of ping pong because that's what I've played. But technically, the technical term is table tennis. So please forgive me. It is a strange film. It is a strangely delightful film. And I have to say, Timothee Chalamet plays a lot of kind of jerky characters, or like at least lately he has. He was Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan's kind of a jerk in that movie, and maybe in real life, based on that movie anyways, but also is an endearing figure in a lot of ways. And I would say the same thing about, I guess, Marty Reisman, who the movie is based on. But also, this film isn't quite an adaptation of his life, so maybe we can't say that about that specific figure. But the way that he's played here, or the way that Timothy plays this fictional character, Marty Mauser, feels like it's another character that's an endearing jerk, I guess. And yet, it's a character that you are intrigued in, and he has this dream, and he just wants to win at basically the world championship for ping pong, which is a pretty big dream when you consider when I'm playing ping pong, I'm lucky if I survive like 3 hits back and forth, man. Never mind everything they were doing in this movie. Also, shout outs to Timothée Chalamet for legitimately playing ping pong in this, because there's definitely a bunch of shots here where I don't think it's debatable as to whether or not Timothée Chalamet can play ping pong. He must have had to learn, or he already was really good at ping pong before he got into this. I always think sports movies are interesting because there's usually a skill set you have to have as an actor to play that character, or you have to get really invested in the sport. So I just think that's really impressive because it shows a level of dedication. And Timothée Chalamet has talked about this before, this idea that, you know, he wants to be one of the greatest actors of his time. And I think he's making all the right moves to do that. And being in Marty Supreme is another fantastic move for his career, because the movie is just so odd and yet so charming. And it's not just Timothée Chalamet here. The whole cast is quite good. I really love Gwyneth Paltrow as Kay, this sort of older actress who's no longer acting and is kind of trying to maybe get back into that world. I think that Gwyneth Paltrow, honestly, in most things that I've seen her in, she is really, really good. I'm not sure how I feel about what she does necessarily as a person, but as an actress, I really like Gwyneth Paltrow. I think she's a really good actress. And we also have Odessa Azion. I don't know. She's got the coolest name ever, though. Odessa Azion is what I'm going to say. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. My apologies, Odessa, if I'm not. She is phenomenal in this, and I actually recognized her because she was also in another movie that I reviewed last year, Until Dawn. And Until Dawn, in my opinion, was not a great movie. But I thought all the actors did a really good job in it, so I was really happy to see her in this. So she's really great in this as Rachel, who is basically Marty's love interest, his main love interest, this girl that he grew up with. They've been friends since they were 8 years old, and I actually really love their relationship. It's really toxic, maybe? It's pretty toxic, but it's also really kind of sweet. It's like Marty is trying to escape the love of his life, and he's kind of in denial about everything that's happening with their relationship. Rachel is married, so she shouldn't even really be in this relationship, but they clearly have this bond that is like a forever bond. And this film is cool because I feel like something that it touches on a lot is how our obsessions can drive us, and how they can also blind us at times to reality, to the world around us, can cause us pain, can cause others pain, can cause you harm. It's a very fascinating film because it seems to also be about obsession and love and a variety of things: success, failure, determination, delusion. That's part of it. And I think what it has to say about this idea of obsession is how it can kind of blind you to the world around you and kind of make you unaware of reality. Marty, he is obsessed with ping pong and being the best ping pong player, and Rachel's character is obsessed with Marty. I think that the way that this film explores those obsessions and how they drive us is really interesting and makes the characters really interesting, and they all have something that they're obsessed with that they'd basically give up anything to do. However, it's also about that realization, that moment when you realize what's really important in your life and how our obsessions can sometimes be the things that cause us and others around us the most pain. And what I love about it is there is a moment where Marty has this kind of realization of the fact that his love of table tennis is essentially destroying his life, I think, because he knows if he doesn't actually go for it, then he can't really move through it. So he does need to resolve this obsession. He needs to see it through. And he sees it through, but not in a way that is the big moment that we were kind of promised at the beginning of the film. What I like about this movie is it really does start off as like a sports drama, and then it devolves into like kind of heist gone wrong in many different spots. Like there's all these plans that Marty has and like everything goes terribly wrong, but he's the one that constantly is getting in his way, so he's messing it up. And it allows him, I think, to learn these lessons in life about what really matters to him. And I don't know if he really fully changes as a character, but I do think there's at least the beginning of change to who he is and what his priorities are by the end of the movie. And I think it all comes together in a really beautiful and really grounded way. And something that is supporting all of that throughout the film is the powerful visuals of the movie, also the soundtrack of the movie. There's a lot here that supports the emotions of this film. And honestly, it's quite an emotional ride. For most of the movie, you're like gripping the arms of your movie chair or your seat, wherever you're sitting, because it's so anxiety inducing. It's just everything that can go wrong will go wrong. And Marty's just constantly trying to roll out of everything and pretend everything is fine. So it's a bit intense to watch. Now, it's not the most anxiety-filled movie I've ever seen. That would probably still be Lady Macbeth, which I think is, if you haven't seen it, it's really anxiety-inducing. But this movie is approaching that level of anxiety for me, so it's pretty anxiety-inducing. There's also a lot of like genuine romance in it. There's a lot of genuine laughter in it, and sometimes there is also kind of this sense of inspiration. I felt inspired watching this movie, despite watching a character kind of fail on a loop. It is inspirational in the sense that you get to watch someone go for their dreams no matter what. And something that I loved about Marty as a character is that he just doesn't really care what people think of him. And he's so focused on what he wants that his mind is very tuned into that. So he just goes for what he wants, regardless of what other people tell him, regardless of what other people say he can or can't do. He just doesn't care. He puts himself out there, he puts himself on the line, and even when he messes it up, he doesn't stop, which I think is admirable, even though, like I said, he is kind of a jerkish character. So all of these emotions, I just think, are beautifully supported by the visuals of the film and the music of the film. And I thought it was cool because when I was watching it, it just feels like a retro film, the way it's shot, the way it's cut. A lot of these shots, too, are pretty close. There's a lot of extreme and just close-up shots. Extreme close-ups and close-ups. And I feel like that really sinks you into a lot of these moments. It makes the movie feel really intimate. And I gotta say, based on the way the movie starts, it's intimate. That's another thing you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel a closeness to these characters, whether you want to or not. And the film was shot on 35mm as well. And I feel like that adds to the movie too. And I thought there was something about it visually that I really loved. And when I got out of the movie, I looked up, like, what was this shot on? Like, what are we shooting on for our film here? Is it digital? Is it a filter? But no, yeah, it is 100% 35 millimeter, which explains the kind of warmth that you get from the film as well. And the sense that it just pulls you in a way. I don't know. Something about 35 millimeter, it just really grounds me in film whenever I watch anything on it. I don't know why that is. If you have thoughts about that, drop your theories down in the comments. That's pretty much all I have to say about this movie. I just genuinely enjoyed it. It was quite a ball. I definitely feel Timothee Chalamet did it again. It's another film that he has just completely won me over on. And I was a little nervous going into it because although I had heard it was amazing, sports dramas aren't typically the thing that I reach for, but this is really kind of a drama, comedy, sports drama. It's a lot of things. I feel like giving it a genre actually does it a disservice because there's just so much that the film is doing, and it's doing it at peak levels. That's pretty much all I have to say about this one. I hope that you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on it. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of Marty Supreme if you've seen it, or if you are, not sure about seeing it yet, let me know how you felt about this review. Did it perhaps make you want to see it, or make you think, you know what, it's not for me, which also, fine. But I promise you, if you see it, you'll probably be surprised, even if you've watched this review. That's all I have about this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. And until then, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you like when I talk about the drama, you need to check this out.